they can approach it, they can kind of come towards it, but don't cross that center line. We call that washing machining or soccer hands, because if you watch a lot of kids playing soccer, they kind of do this with their hands as they're running around the pitch. That really fights against your body. So if you think of physics, you know, like if you're trying to go this way, anything that's going this way in your body is just counterproductive, right? Okay, so getting down to the stride workout, you're going to do, you know, probably if you're a new runner, 6 is plenty the first day. Do a 5-minute warm-up jog, do the high knees, the butt kicks, and the bounding and the backwards running. Then you're ready to go. Do 6 times, 20 seconds, pretty hard, working on your form with a 1-minute jog back, or about 100 meters, 80 to 100 meters is typically what we do for strides. So go hard down, jog back, and just do repeats of that. Those of you that have been running a bit and find this fairly easy, get up to 12. You know, if you can push this for 12 trips, then that you're gonna find that a good workout. You're gonna be out of breath at the end, and you're gonna work on your form a lot and your fitness. Okay, this is a good workout for CrossFitters. If you're going in competitions, this is the kind of thing that's really going to build your stamina and just help you be a more efficient runner. Okay, so that's day 1, stride workout. Any questions on that?
What if you can't go outside your house yet?
You can do these on a treadmill. Do you have a treadmill?
I do, yeah.
Okay, so if you can do these on a treadmill too, like, and that's a great question. And really, any of this stuff, if you need adaptations, let me know and we'll come up with something. But really all you're doing, it's a little more annoying on a treadmill because you're constantly flicking on the buttons. But do your 5K warm up, and then, you know, in your basement or wherever you have a little space, you can do high knees on the spot. You can do butt kicks on the spot, do some jumping jacks, that kind of thing. And then just make sure you get a little bit of a stretch in, because you know, running backwards probably is going to be a little bit tough. And then just go for, I would probably go for about a minute on the treadmill, get used to the treadmill, then do hard for 20 seconds, easy for a minute, and then just do as many repeats as you can, and then do a cool down jog. That's really important too. If you don't do a cool down jog, your recovery will be longer the next day. So do some cool down, maybe 5 or 10 minutes or 15 after the workout's over, and then do a little stretch, and then get something to eat. Okay, anything else with the strides? Okay.
That's all up on the website there. And so like each week we'll be posting up kind of variations of that and what to do, but it's all on the website. You can check that out now, and I'll kind of keep posting that up. You can do that whenever you want that week, right?
Yeah. If you want to get into running a little more and are thinking like, this is something I can do to really supplement my CrossFit, and you want to do this, you know, consistently, keep a little log. You know, I used to keep a really detailed log before Strava came out. Now I just kind of can go back to my Strava post from whatever workout I did. And it's great for coaching too, because I can see what all my athletes are doing now on Strava. But before that, I used to keep a daily log, and I'd write down how my workout went and things that I needed to work on and that kind of thing. So do that after every workout. Just make a few notes and say, okay, this didn't go well. And if you want to, you can reach out to me, and you know, I'll be happy to talk you through the next one. Okay, the second day is just little pickups, okay, or we call it fartlek. It's a Norwegian word, I think, for speed play. Okay, these are great workouts too, because you can get a little more distance in. So you can, you know, you can get some mileage in without it being so much junk miles. You know, for you folks where running may not be your main thing, and you're doing it to supplement something else, quality is way more important than it is for those of us that are focused on running and just trying to get our mileage up. Okay, so for me, you know, I'm going to have a lot of junk miles during a week. You don't really want as many junk miles. So what we're going to do is, you know, throw some speed in there every once in a while. Okay. So what you're going to do is go for a run, you know, as long as you want it to be. If you're, just new to this, maybe keep it at like 15 minutes or 20 minutes. If you're someone that's an experienced runner and your cardio is there, then stretch it out up to maybe 60 minutes. Okay. And what you want to do is do the first 5, 10, 15 minutes, depending on how long you're going for, just as a nice, easy pace, and just ease into your run. Like I start out every run really slow. Like, like I said, my hamstrings are a little tight, and I actually live on a bit of a hill, and I usually turn left and start going up the hill in my run. And my pace is like 2 minutes slower than what I'd run my marathon pace at for the first probably a kilometer anyway, and sometimes 2. Okay, so just ease into your run. And then what you want to do is every 4 minutes or 5 or 6, whatever, go hard for 20 seconds. Pretend you're in a 5K race and just go hard at like 5K race pace for 20 seconds. And what you'll find is this will snap your legs into some speed work. And each time after your 20 seconds, your gait for the easy parts will be a lot more efficient. It'll be more fluid. It'll be quicker. You'll look down, if you're wearing a Garmin, you'll look down and you'll be like, oh my gosh, my pace is just kind of getting crazy here. It's picking up every single time. And it's a really good way to work on a little bit of speed and get the heart rate up for a little bit within an easy run. Okay. If you don't have a watch, just use telephone poles. I do a lot of stuff with telephone poles. Like if I feel my hand is getting sloppy, or if I helicopter a little bit, because as Brett constantly tells me, I have really weak glutes. I'll really focus on good knee drive and not helicoptering for 3 or 4 telephone poles. So for this workout, just use 2 or 3 telephone poles and go hard for 2 or 3 telephone poles, or some sort of landmark, that next stop sign, that car up there, whichever, right? Those people that I'm going to social distance around and run 2 meters around, whatever it takes. And then just do that for, a good chunk of the workout, and then make sure you save enough time to cool down at the end. Okay, so you're going a little bit of a warm up, and then every 4 minutes you're going hard for 20 seconds on the 4 minute, and then a little bit of a cool down, and then a little stretch, and then food. It's important to get some carbs into you like within 20 minutes of every run. For our UPI team and with the Colonel Gray kids, usually I want them to bring a granola bar or muffin or something so that they can get some carbs in right after the workout. Sometimes right after the workout, we'll eat and then go do our cool down. Okay, so we just call those pickups or a fartlek. Really just means change of pace, speed play, that kind of thing. Any questions about the second workout?
So bananas, chocolate milk for the post recovery is okay?
Yeah, bananas are great. Chocolate milk is great. They're go-tos for me. I wouldn't have chocolate milk right after the workout before you do your cool down, because that can kind of mess with your system sometimes. But there's a lot of there's not as many places to go to the washroom right now with all the business.
So you're saying like after the workout, before the cool down, you want to have something to eat and then do your cool down?
Yeah, the sooner the better. A lot of kids will do that. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And then and that's not it. Like you still want to have a good sized meal within a couple hours of your workout too.
Oh, yeah, no danger of that. Yeah.
Yeah. We have a lot of kids that are doing 2-a-days too. Like we call it doubling. So in the mornings, they'll do an easy 4 to 6K, and then in the afternoon, then they'll do the workout. So it's really important that they get lots of food throughout the day.
I just have a quick question.
Yeah,
Sorry. Whenever you say like go hard for the 20 seconds, like how hard? Like, are you talking like full out sprint? Are you talking like 80%? Are you talking?
Yeah, we usually say 5K race pace. So if you've done a 5K race and you ran, let's say 25 minutes, then you'd want to get it up to 5-minute per kilometer, or a little bit faster, right? 20 seconds is going to go by really fast. If you did an all-out sprint, it wouldn't be the end of the world, as long as you're not sacrificing your form or pushing yourself too hard and getting hurt. Okay, so basically as fast as you can go that feels comfortable, right? Which is usually 5K race pace for a long distance runner. But some of you are probably focusing more on getting quicker for a 400 or an 800 or a mile, whatever you're doing in your CrossFit competitions. So a little faster wouldn't hurt.
Perfect.
So
Thank you.
maybe not as fast as a stride though, but
No, well, you could, it wouldn't hurt. Like I said, you're only doing it for 20 seconds, but that'd be pretty quick. Like a stride is pretty close to a sprint. You know, and what you don't really need to do it to get what we're looking to get out of this workout. It doesn't have to be a sprint. What you're going to find is just going hard for those 20 seconds at 5K race pace. Look at your 4-minute blocks in between each one, in between those 20 seconds. And you're going to, if you have Strava and you go back and you look at your pace per kilometer for each kilometer, you're just going to see that you naturally got faster each one. So we do this workout a lot with kids that are new to running. And it's a really good confidence builder for them, because they'll go back afterwards and they'll say, oh my gosh, I didn't even realize, but I got down to like 4:35 pace for my last 3 blocks, right? So it does, you don't have to push too hard. Just get a good sweat on, get the heart rate up, and then settle down and then do it again. You can even do it progressively too. Like if you wanted to start out at like 10K race pace for your first 20-second block, and then gradually work it up and do a sprint for your last one, that'd be a really effective workout too. Okay. So the last one is long run. Even if you're not planning to do like a 5K or a 10K or a half marathon or anything like that, long runs will still be really effective. You know, they're going to build your cardio, they're going to build your stamina, and you know, even 800-meter specialists do long runs, right? Like elite athletes that focus on the 800 meters, they're still getting up around the 75 kilometers a week range. Okay, so if your focus is going to be 400-meter repeats or 800-meter repeats, or even up to a mile or whatever, then this is still going to be really effective. Okay, it's just going to improve your general fitness, your stamina, and it's just going to allow you to take on more shorter workouts. And at the same time, it's not going to, you know, you're not going to risk injury. You're not going to get hurt because you're not pushing that hard. Okay. So basically, grab your headphones or a running partner 2 meters away, or your dog, or whatever you need to sort of keep your mind focused, a good running playlist, and just step out the door and just run. And these are not hard. Like yesterday, I did a long run with my son, and we were, you know, well, about 1.5 minutes slower than marathon pace, right, for this. So this is just nice and easy. Just keep the blood flowing. You're still focused on form. This is a good idea for this is to do the telephone pole trick and say, okay, for the next 6 telephone poles, I'm going to really work on my form and try and stay light, keep my foot strike light, make sure my foot strike is right underneath my hip. Little things like this. I'll keep sending out just little tidbits of information, so that, you know, each long run, maybe you could have a thought. You know, sometimes at practice, we'll have what I call the thought of the day. It's good to have a thought of the long run. So it's like, are my wrists brushing my hips? Are my hands approaching the center line but not crossing? Whatever you want it to be. Okay. Podcasts are great. And then just get out the door. Just get out the door and run, and get outside in the spring and look at all the, you know, I live kind of close to Victoria Park, and so most of my runs start in this area, and it's crazy how many people are out right now. You know, it's I guess one of the little silver linings is that a lot of people are getting active. You'll have lots of people to smile at and wave at. Okay, so at first, if you're new to running, 20-25 minutes is plenty. Okay, just get the heart rate up for a little bit. Maybe don't shy away from hills, like maybe just like a nice rolling course would be good. It doesn't have to be super flat. Unless you have issues with your calves or your Achilles or those types of things, then you want to keep it kind of flat and keep it kind of soft. The trail is great. The only problem with this time of year is you can't, once you get past the bypass, it's been snowmobiled on all winter. So but to the bypass, the trail is great. It's nice and soft and it's pretty flat except for the little hill behind UPEI. Those of you that are experienced runners, stretch it out a little bit. You know, I wouldn't go any longer than 45 minutes probably to start, but then just keep ramping things up. Okay. And, you know, eventually, you know, when training for a marathon or a 100-miler or something like that, I've had long runs that were, you know, up to 45 kilometers and sometimes trail runs that are like 5 hours long, but just gradually work your way up to that. Okay. And actually that's one thing that just kind of popped into my head that I didn't put on, that Brett, maybe you could add later on, is you never want to ramp up your mileage more than 10% a week. Okay. So if you have a Garmin or you're on Strava or whatever, just kind of write on your calendar how many kilometers you did or miles, whatever way your mind works better at the end of the week. And then don't ramp that up ever by more than 10% per week. And then every third week, even go back down a little bit. Okay, so next week I'll kind of remind that, and I'll put it in the notes before we have a chat. But just for injury prevention, it's really easy to get hooked on this. I have a lot of kids that I'm like, dude, you got to scale it back a little bit. You're going to get hurt. Because they get so excited about getting into running, and there's, you know, all they want to do is go, and they want to go too far, too fast, and then they get hurt. At UPI this year, this was my first year taking over the team, and we had a lot of people that were good athletes but weren't really runners yet. And the trickiest thing was finding that balance in the fall for cross-country season about ramping their mileage up to get them fast enough to be competitive at AUS without getting them hurt. And we probably got about 70% of it right, but there was a few people that were a little bit banged up and didn't compete at AUS. So you got to be careful with that. Okay, so 10% a week is a good rule of thumb. Okay.
Question about like ramping up, especially in the spring. So I do like the mid 4-foot strike, and I find it's, you know, it's hard on the calves and all the small muscles, and I have to be super careful to not overdo it. So especially in the spring, like started maybe 2 weeks ago or a week ago, I just did like 1K and that was it. And it burned for 3 days. So I let that go. And then the next time I did 1K and it went fine. And then I did 2 times 1K. Like other than kind of those stretches, like the calf stretches and the runner's stretches, what's the best way to avoid overdoing it or kind of like injuring the Achilles and calf area?
I would start off really slow. I think you're doing the right thing by only going 1 kilometer a week. I think shoes are really important too. I'm a toe runner too. I like run way too much up on my toes. So I wear the Asics Nimbus, which is a really cushiony shoe. It's like running on pillows. So that's really important. Like you wouldn't want to go get like a pair of Nike Frees or something like that have no cushion and no heel drop. You want something with a little bit of heel to it. If your Achilles are sore and your calves are sore, a little trick you can do is take an old insole and cut the back heel part off about like this much, and then stick that underneath your current insole, and it'll get your heels up a little bit, and it'll take a little bit of the load off your calves and your Achilles.
Okay.
But yeah, calf stretches, and not just the typical calf stretch with your foot all the way back, but what you want to do is put your foot close to the wall that you're leaning against, and put your knee out over your toe, and that'll get your lower calf and your Achilles a little more. A lot of people do the typical calf stretch and they're like, oh yeah, that feels good. But it's really important to do that lower calf stretch too by putting your foot like literally about 4 inches from the wall and just sticking your knee out over your toes, and that'll get the lower part of the calf. The other thing we do is a lot of calf raises. We call them footies. We call like foot exercises. So we do 2 sets of 20 calf raises after most runs. And then we do what's called rollbacks, which is kind of the opposite. This is your foot, and you're just going to roll back onto your heels. Okay. And what that does is that prevents shin splints. It doesn't fix shin splints. Once you get shin splints, they're kind of hard to shake. You got to just rest and ice. But if you do those ahead of time and are proactive, you won't get shin splints. The other thing we do is mix up heat and ice. Hot baths to get the blood flowing to anything that might be tight is good. Stretching and rolling, right? Like, I guess another silver lining with the situation we're in right now for me is I'm usually at work all day, running around, go, jump right into my workout right after school, and then come home, make supper. And I've been terrible about stretching and rolling. But the last 2 weeks I've been stretching and rolling religiously, and I feel better than I have in a long, long time. So like, if you have a roller, get on it, and don't just roll what's sore, right? Like a lot of people, my calves are sore, so they roll out their calves, but your calves are probably sore because your glutes are tight or something in your back or coming down through your IT band. So, it's important to spend 20 minutes gently rolling everything out. Right. And if you perennially have calf issues, then keep it flat, stay away from hills, right? The boardwalk is great. The trail is great. So it's pretty easy to find flat places in Charlottetown.
Like, I find I get really winded because I don't breathe through my nose at all. So
Right.
anything that I can help with that.
Practice, right? Like you can fix that. I know it seems like, well, I've been breathing my whole life, like
Yeah.
a certain way. How am I going to practice this? But when you're running, you like pretend you have a conductor there, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, and try and hit your breaths on a certain cadence. And try, what you want to do is make your out longer than you're in. Okay, so try and like breathe in really deeply and have a certain count in your head, and then breathe out a little bit longer than you're breathing in. It'll feel really weird at first.
Yeah.
And you're going to be like, this, am I really able to do this? But if you just you don't have to do it all the time. Like I said, if you do it for the next 6 telephone poles, right? And then later on, it'll click into your head again. Oh yeah, I got to practice my breathing again. And then do it for another 6 telephone poles. And then what'll happen is you'll notice, 2-3 weeks down the road that you're just doing it all the time. And then it'll just become part of your running.
Okay.
There's some stuff on breathing in Chi running. But I don't know, it's kind of, I guess sort of hardcore old school runners kind of find that kind of hocus pocus. But if you Google like CHI running, there's a lot of breathing in Chi running.
Okay.
This is fun. I love talking running. Anything else?
No.
Okay. One other thing I mentioned to Brett before is once the world gets back to normal, and one of the greatest things about living in PEI is there's almost literally like a little fundraising road race like every weekend put on. The PEI Roadrunners do a fantastic job. I organize a couple runs throughout the year, and it's tricky trying to find a weekend because there's a run almost every weekend. If anyone wants to do like a program where they go from where you are now to a 5K or 10K or a half marathon, just get my email from Brett, and I'll make up a little program for you, and we can email back and forth, and I'll do whatever to help you reach some goals with running.
And the best thing about that, Mike, with the Roadrunners programs, it's another little community. We all have a little CrossFit community, but the running community is just as big or bigger, and it's a great social group.
It's fantastic. The races are so much fun, and not even the race itself, like the camaraderie before the race, the meals after the race, and just hanging out and shooting the breeze. And like a lot of these people have become people that I actually run with quite a bit now that I didn't even really know before we got involved in the PEI Roadrunner. So yeah, and it's growing too. Like there's more and more people running all the time. Yeah.
All right.
All good, Mike?
Thanks.
Good. So thank you. Thanks, Mike, for coming on. And so again, like I said, the workouts are up on the website now. The stride workout, the pickups, and the longest run. I'm going to also add them into Sugar Walk, because I know most people are on Sugar Walk, and you can go in there and like click them off as you do them. But the best thing is that Mike's kind of given us there is that it's very different for different people. So you can do the stride workout, like Mike said, if you're new to running or you're getting involved in the first time in a while, just do 6 rounds of it. But if you feel more comfortable, you can go up and do 6, 8, 10, 12, depending on how you feel that day or your fitness levels. The same with the longest runs, all scalable, depending on where you are with your running right now. So it's all up online on the website now, and it'll be on Sugarwad here today as well. And we'll do this every Monday at 10 for the foreseeable future until we get things back to normal. So yeah, thanks, Mike, again.
Awesome, my pleasure.
Yeah. Thank you.
Mike.
Thanks,
Thank you
Mike.
much.
Thank you.
Okay,
Like,
see you next Monday.
We'll see you at 12. There's CrossFit class at 12. And then at 5 this afternoon. And then there's yoga tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. I'll be posting that link tonight. Wednesday, Harrison will be on to do some physio stuff at 10, and then CrossFit at 12 and 5, and then Thursday, yoga again. So we'll chat with you soon. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Awesome.
You too.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Mike.
Take care.
Guys.
Bye.